Hello, everyone, and welcome to the VR Download, a weekly show recorded live in the Upload Virtual Studios where we bring you the latest news, reviews, comments, and interviews from the VR industry. If you've watched before, then you know that was Kyle's intro, and I'm not Kyle. My name's David. This week, we've got a special episode all about the Consumer Electronics Show, CES 2020 in Las Vegas, Nevada. We had Ian, who is over there, Tatiana,
That's me,
who is floating right there, but she might not
If you
be
can
here.
see her.
She's using a Go on hotel Wi-Fi, so we'll just have to wait and see. And Kyle, all three of them were on site in Vegas this week, and they talked to developers, saw the show floor, tried out demos, all that good stuff. My name's David. I'm senior editor at Upload, and I will be filling in for Kyle because he was lazy and decided not to join us. He's also on a plane and currently traveling back from CES.
No excuses.
So
we have
whatever.
in-flight Wi-Fi these days. Come on.
Exactly. That's what I've been. Thank you.
Yeah, like
let's meet the rest of the team. Starting on my far left is that's Tatiana currently, but I don't. What happened? Where did Ian go?
He's run off back to CES.
Oh man.
Ian will be back at some point, I think. And over here, filling in for Tatiana, even though she's sort of present, is
Xena. I'm the video editor. I'm right here. I'm going to be reading your comments and giving my input.
Yeah, if you look on our YouTube channel and you see a video, you're like, oh wow, that's impressive. That's really good. She did that.
It's me.
That's all.
Okay?
That's her.
It's me.
She does the VR recap every week. She does our
VR
showcases.
recap.
She does all the cool stuff. So that's Xena.
And all the videos are actually CGI generated. She generates them all herself. They don't even real. You just sit there at your computer like generating things each day.
I actually just plug it into my brain and then that's it.
Yeah.
Who we got over here? Who's over here?
Ian Hamilton here, managing editor. I disconnected and reconnected. That was terrifying because the first thing that happens is your avatar stopped moving, and then I realized I'm dying.
It's like in Westworld where they turn off all the hosts.
And
the whole world freezes in Westworld when all the hosts shut down. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
First
That's when I joined
Westworld.
2 weeks ago, and it was just like everyone was kind of frozen. It's terrible. And I'm Harry, news writer for Upload VR.
There he is,
CES,
John Travolta himself in the
John
flesh.
John Travolta reincarnate. Yes.
All right, cool. Well,
dead.
Let's go ahead and just we'll just get started.
I'll accept that
this is a special episode because it's all about CES, so we're not going to have an interview at the end. We're not going to,
He had a movie that was 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. I just have to bring.
Really?
It up. Yeah, it was
Which
like
movie?
some movie about
Grease.
It was about repairing power lines or something.
Gross.
Yeah. Sorry, I just had to.
Well,
No, that's
Pulp
I've never
Fiction
seen
is his
something
best
that was
movie.
that
I
bad.
think we can all agree Pulp Fiction was his best work.
Correct.
I think. We'll
Correct.
move on now. CES 2020 special. That's what this episode is. So what we're going to do is go through all the big stories from the week. We're going to talk to Ian about what he tried and all that good stuff. So it's not going to be a traditional episode, a special episode. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. Xena will let us know, and we'll try to address everything you have questions about, anything you're curious about. And Ian, why don't we just have you kick it off? First, we're going to talk about the Pico Neo 2. The pricing was revealed alongside new eye tracking within the headset. Did you get to try that headset?
I tried both. Yeah, I tried the eye tracking. I tried the regular. That has. So it's got the battery in the back, so it's balanced a little bit better than Quest, but it's still pretty heavy. I mean, it's not in the same general ballpark as a Quest. The eye tracking, that's Tobii eye tracking, which we've tried, year after year. The most interesting thing about that on the eye tracking one was they put it on my head and they didn't calibrate it first, so it was tracking my eyes pretty well. I mean, I looked left, looked right, looked up with my eyes, and then looked down, and it went wonky, like my eyes were closing when they weren't. But that's without calibration, which was a significant step for eye tracking.
What do they usually do if they calibrate it for eye tracking?
You typically have to look at a dot up here, a dot over here, a dot down here. And
so you can get a feel for your eyelids and where your pupils go and stuff like that.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
And they can calibrate it each time. It's just with that particular demo they didn't first, and so it was interesting to see that. And it didn't work perfectly, but
demo's not working was a theme for you this week.
Oh, I mean, we'll
get to that more, but there's a little breadcrumb for everyone. That's foreshadowing is what they call it in the literary world.
Podcast breadcrumb.
Yeah. Pick up that morsel, chew on it a little bit.
So Pico has the the electromagnetic tracking made by NDI, a brand from NDI called Atraxa, and that was really cool to test out. A really, really, really neat thing to do because I'm obviously using a Quest right now that has the 4 cameras right up on front, and I was doing things in like Angry Birds where I held the slingshot off to my right, looked away, and then took my other hand and grabbed the slingshot and pulled it back without looking at
Oh
'cause
yeah,
that
see,
wasn't working
you
just
literally
then.
just demonstrated it.
Just
and
Yeah.
demonstrated how it doesn't
it. It
work.
lost. Yeah, so I
Yeah,
was
it
able
like
to do
it, they
that in
become
Pico.
3 off. Yeah.
Yeah,
Interesting.
Were they really
Okay.
heavy?
they were a little heavier. Yeah. The
Like
other demo I did
uncomfortable
with them
heavy?
was not so heavy that I wouldn't want to use them. They were decent. I mean, no heavier than a Vive wand. The
So
other
not
demo
like
I
the
did was
Cosmos
Beat Saber.
controllers. Those things, I weighed those. They're literally twice as heavy as a touch controller.
I did Beat Saber, and I put the controller behind my back in Beat Saber, and put the saber like through my own body, and was able to point it left, right accurately from behind my back. It
That's
was kind
cool.
of another cool demo.
Cool.
But this is
Cool.
all enterprise stuff, right? Because the Pico stuff's all and it's like enterprise quests, kind of, right?
It's weird. I can never decide. Like they say they only sell them to businesses, but it's just because they can't price it competitively to Quest. So they just hello. So
Excuse me.
So they just it's $700 and $900 I think is how they're pricing those things, and so they're just like sort of folding on the consumer market and saying, okay, only businesses can buy these and get the business service and
Hypothetically,
support.
you could buy one if you wanted to as a consumer.
You'd have to lie and say you're a business, but yeah, I don't know what's keeping you from saying that.
Yeah, right. Okay.
And get out a loan, at least. Probably 2 loans.
Yeah, exactly. Sell 2 quests.
No.
Do you have any comments from people? Any feedback on the Pico stuff or anything?
Not much. Just one person saying that they want to hear Ian's take specifically on Panasonic, Pico, and Pimax. So you're the celeb
The
right now.
3 Ps
The three-
of
the
CES
three
as
Ps.
they're
The
known.
3 Ps, not the crumbs. The 3 Ps.
And not the
Yeah.
the PP toilet VR.
You
That's a different P.
get that in there.
I mean, this is the best podcast on the planet for segues. I tell you what, man.
Oh,
Yeah.
God, yeah.
We're
All
killing
right, so
it.
It's all the CES
I want to talk about.
marketing
I'll
terms.
talk about Pimax first because I think that was the least.
Well, I mean,
that
we're
was the
going to get to
most
that eventually.
problematic.
We have it on the list here, don't we?
Well, they asked, so I'm going to get to it.
Or no, we don't. Why is it not on the list? Heaney
It's
failed.
on my
failed.
list.
Oh. Yeah,
It is. It is.
Anyway,
I'm stupid.
anyway.
Sorry. It was near the end. We just do it now.
Where's
Let's
Kyle
talk
when
about-
you need him?
Do it now. We'll do it now. All right. So Pimax. We've talked about Pimax a lot. We've reported on them a lot. They've been around for a long time. Had lots of different headsets that they've been promising and then delaying and delaying and delaying. So I went up to the Pimax booth. I don't recall ever trying Pimax before. David, you have had one to test, and it's not been
I've
tested
tried
a
it
whole
a few
lot.
times. I tried it at CES 2018 and 2019.
So I
and
haven't tried it before. I
for
think
what
you've
it's
always
worth,
done
that
the
headset
demos.
that headset still isn't out, by the way. I don't think,
Yeah.
and not like fully.
So I my first time putting on Pimax that I can recall at CES 2020, I put on their Pimax AKX, and they put on the index controllers on me, the actual Valve index controllers, and
They didn't even have their own controllers there.
Yeah. The right eye started flashing black within about 5 minutes. I did Boneworks. They had a flight simulator on the left.
Hold on. Did you try not blinking?
I could have closed. I could have just closed my right eye and done Pimax that way. And it's so weird to, like, when you do these demos, the person always tries to fix it up and like, oh yeah, I'm so sorry. It's a driver issue. It's a USB issue. It doesn't matter. You're at CES and you should bring your top tier demo and not have a huge error. So that made me extremely uncomfortable very fast. They brought in another headset.
There's actually a great picture on Twitter, right, where someone captured the disgust on your face.
Yes, Kyle grabbed a photo of me just so the first thing you notice in a Pimax is, okay, thanks for the extra field of view. I can see out to here now instead of out to here, which is what I see in my Oculus Quest. So I mean, that's nice. But then in that first demo, in that first headset, all the stuff at the edges was popping in like a second after everything in the foreground, everything in the middle.
That's something that I even notice on the 5K Plus when I use it at home, because I think a lot of apps aren't designed to render outside of that traditional FOV of headsets. So you'll, like, if you turn your head slow enough, you'll see objects like popping in that weren't rendered yet because it doesn't think you can see them.
Oof.
It is actually rendering more, right? Like, it's not like, because some of them, don't they kind of stretch part of it too, at the edges, or am I getting that wrong?
Oh, they're rendering more. I mean, they're showing more content. Yeah. And so that was the first error before the eye started blinking. The first error was the popping in of the stuff at the sides, and then they adjusted some stuff on the software and said, okay, let's turn on parallel processing. They were running a 2080 Ti in there, by the way. So that fixed the pop in, and then the eye started going wonky on the second run, and then they're like, oh, why don't you go try the flight simulator? And I said, no, I want to try Boneworks again with another headset. So they brought over another headset. And yeah, I put me back in Boneworks. And tried it again, and it didn't have the right eye thing. It didn't see the pop in on the sides at the time. But still, there's a little bit of distortion at the sides of the lenses. And
so that was both of those are the AKX. Did you try the Artisan?
Just tried the AKX. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Did they have the Artisan there?
They might have. I don't know. I didn't see. I had to run to another demo point with my tummy all rumbling, because I felt a little woozy after all that.
Okay.
Maybe we could try to get some time in there tomorrow if they don't watch this.
How much was the?
Literally a picture of your face outside with a line through it. Like.
Yeah.
It's like your Oculus avatar. It's like no Ian's. It's like just your Oculus avatar. You're like, that's not me.
I think they probably have the Artisan there. They probably would. So maybe if you have time, because that's the lower cost option the actual new headset. I believe.
How much is lower cost? Do we know?
Well,
how much?
Okay. Let's preface that, right? So it is lower cost, but it doesn't come with base stations or controllers. So
when you add up the cost, it ends up being comparable to a full index.
Yeah, it's about the same cost
as
an index for the HMD, but that's still cheaper than the current Pimaxes for the most part.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Okay, so we covered the Pimax stuff. We can, if I had a pen, I would cross it out on my list right here. Next weekend, we'll save Panasonic. That's the other P.
Yeah, that's the other P.
Yeah, that's the third P. We'll save that one. Next, let's talk about Inreal. The Inreal Light AR glasses.
Oh yeah.
Their new feature they talked about is being able to pin Android apps in your room. I know you tried them. Did you get to try that feature, or
I did? Yeah.
Oh, you did. Okay.
So I was able to pin a Netflix window over here, and then a YouTube window over here. I pulled up our channel on YouTube and played a video over here. Looked over here and had The Witcher playing over here. And I mean,
ooh, Henry Cavill.
It technically worked, but I mean, they've got a long way to go with their software and the 6DoF tracking. I need to see a better demo of the 6DoF tracking to really believe.
I have a question about that. Whenever you pin something, is that like saved there? Like if you pin it to that wall and I walk and go to the bathroom and come back, is it still in that exact spot, or does it float with me?
All that stuff is in theory type levels. Okay. This is not a HoloLens 2 where that might actually work, or a Magic Leap where that might actually work. I really have a hard time believing that would work reliably with an Unreal. But maybe they could improve it. Yeah.
I was going to ask too, like with the Android apps, because it's plugged into your phone, right? Hypothetically. Is it running the version of the apps from your phone? Like if I just plugged in my phone and opened Spotify, would it already be logged in because it's using my phone's Spotify, or is it like its own separate kind of? Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, is it actually using your phone's
a watch
apps,
that's synced with the same data? Or is it like its own? Yeah.
No, it's an extremely good question, and this is a huge problem because Google has sort of retired their Daydream platform, and they're not certifying new devices. So what app store are you going to pull from for apps on this? And so maybe you have to find some third-party Android repository or something. I don't know.
But real quick though, one thing I want to point out in chat, people are talking about the Artisan price. I want to emphasize that is for the headset only. That does not include base stations or controllers. So people are talking about the price like it's $449, $459. You still need base stations to track it and controllers to use it. So it's around the same price as an NX for the full package. About 1026 is the full price, 1026.
Yeah.
Anyway, go on.
I have a question about the Nreal stuff. So it says that it turns it into a 3D mixed reality experience. Is it? They don't do anything to the apps, do they? It's just literally a window.
It looked like it, yeah. It was just, and then
Okay.
I mean,
You
there
sound
was
so crestfallen. Like, no, it
Sorry.
looked like it.
I mean,
like,
it's
oh, it's
not-
just a window.
well, like, all right. So
Yeah,
looking around their
yeah.
menus, and there's like a little cat 3D app, and I'm like, oh, let's see what the cat 3D app looks like. I want to see an actual
picture of a cat.
hologram or whatever with this, and I click on it, and the whole thing crashes and never comes
Oh,
up. And,
God.
I mean, that's the type of state of this.
All right,
demo.
so we are 3 for 3 on demos going wrong that you've tried.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll keep a tally. So this is where's the? Can I do 3? No, I can't do. I
No,
don't
you
have
can't do
index right
No,
now.
you can.
Yeah.
You can't you? You can go like.
Oh wait, we'll do
1,
this.
2, 3.
Okay.
Oh,
There.
there you go. 3.
There, see on the camera, it looks like
3.
a yeah,
That's the.
right
Or
there.
like you know what we need? You know what we need? A little poster on the wall. It's like days since CES demo failed, and it's like 0.
Jeez. Is there anything else about Inreal you want to talk about? I mean, I know whenever I tried it, like they were pretty comfy in terms of being an AR device, even over my existing glasses. Like they fit still, and to me that was nice. But I mean, like
the
you're
field of
saying,
view
like
is really bad, right? Too. Isn't the field of view quite abysmal?
Well, I mean, all AR devices, the field of view
is
very limiting compared to what we have right now in a VR headset, and that's across the board. I mean, Nreal has a decent field of view compared to some of the other products. It's just you've got to have serious tracking in place in order to pull off an AR experience that's really enjoyable. And so, like, yeah, you could pin a nice big movie on the wall over there, or just watch a movie, but like, I don't see spending $500 for.
Yeah, we have a TV
that
for
you can
that.
hook up
That's
to
what my
your phone.
TV's for. I pin my TV to my wall physically and watch stuff on that.
Yeah.
That's what I call pinning. No, how is it actually doing the 6-off tracking? 6-off tracking.
I think there's cameras on it. Yeah.
There's cameras. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Do we have any questions or anything? For any comments?
No comments.
All right. Cool.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the next one. We are going to talk about not the P glasses, the other glasses, the Samsung glasses. I don't believe anyone got to try these, but during their press conference at CES, they just sort of whipped out a pair of AR glasses. You're like, oh, hey, let me just check these out on my AR glasses.
Hands down the weirdest, because me and Heaney were watching it, and we were like typing or whatever, and it was so bizarre, because she was just like, I had it on my second monitor, and I'm kind of like doing other stuff, and then they're doing something about exercise, and I'm like, cool, they brought out their robot tennis ball before, I was like, cool, nothing of interest here, and then she got the weird exoskeleton leg things on, and then she goes, oh, let me just get out my AR glasses, and I'm like, hang on, and I like have to like refocus everything, puts them on, and I'm like, so are they going to say anything about this? And she's just like, anyway, here's my little AR demo, thanks guys, and just like walks off stage. And I was like, have I missed something here? And me and Heaney like, what, did they just announce AR glasses? What does that mean? Where has that come from? So it was like the most bizarre, I'm not even sure if it was an announcement. Who knows if we're ever going to see those. Maybe Samsung have these brilliant AR glasses we're never going to see because we wouldn't know anything about them. It was just so weird. The way they did it was
so bizarre.
It was like, a non-announcement. It was like she was pulling out her phone, which we kept saying. She was like, oh, let me just get my AR glasses. Ha ha ha. I was like, me too, lady. Like, let me just grab my pair and put them on casually. So it was very bizarre. Can you try them?
Well,
are they around?
Are we sure that they're actually real? Like, was it not just a let me?
Well,
put
yeah,
on
it could
my
just be
AR
a complete.
glasses that I might have from another company. Yeah, that's
it could
weird.
be like every person that comments on the HoloLens 2 video. It's just like, there's no way this is real. They're just bungling it all, and it's like, maybe, who knows? I mean,
who knows?
They're not available to try, right? You can't try them on. They're not. Is there a Samsung
I haven't
area?
heard anything. Yeah,
no.
They might.
So
some things happen behind closed doors, invite only. They pick and choose who they allow to see certain things. But
I guess we haven't heard anything. I mean, there's been literally nothing on them since they pulled them out on stage and then put them back in their pocket and walked off stage again. So
that's the only pair.
If Nreal is doing that approach, it's not really impossible for anyone else to do that wired approach.
No, yeah,
there's actually
and she did plug it into something, so presumably it'd be a Samsung phone, which you would think that you would be hypothetically plugging it into. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was weird.
Fair.
That's bizarre.
I've got a comment. Have you tried your VR motion simulator chair? If yes, is it any good?
Kyle, I think, tried that one. It looked fairly interesting. I think it was over $1,000 in price, and it was like 15. He was at a roller coaster, and it moved him back and forth. It looked like a fairly comfy sitting back experience.
I don't know. I saw the video of it. It did not look comfy. It looked like it would dig into your legs. Like it's just a big bucket. Like I'm sorry.
Well, I was thinking of what's those chairs that you buy at
just like an egg chair or something
those
like.
egg ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I do at home. This is another Harry life hack.
Here we
Like
go.
pinning the TV to my wall. Yeah, so when I go on epic roller coasters or whatever on my quest, I just sit in this chair, and it's got great, like, I can be like, woo! And like kind of
We can
spin
see.
around. And then I've essentially saved myself another $1,000. I'm just like, whoa! And like just move the chair around. So that's
I love
another
those.
how to save yourself $1,000 at CES life hack from Harry.
Yeah,
Use your
honestly,
chair
like,
at home.
Do you hook it up to like a generator or something that's just like humming? So you're like,
Yeah, I should just put like something, get a motor on the bottom of it, so it's just like, you know,
yeah.
has a little, yeah.
All right.
I'm sure I could buy
Look
a
at that.
motor for cheap.
Life hacks by Harry.
Life
That's a
hacks,
new
life hacks
series.
by Harry. Just yeah, it's how to avoid spending $100 on a motion chair. Just spin your
honestly,
chair around
joking
yourself.
aside, there are places like I think there was some video from like Thailand or something where there's a human actually doing the motion simulation for somebody. So there's someone like
I saw that.
in a middle like thing, and the person's yanking this big metal box back
Yeah.
and moving it around for the person.
like controlling a
in time, like the
puppet.
VR experience.
How
I mean, they can't be
dangerous.
cheaper, right? Paying someone to do it can't be cheaper than just
I mean,
buying
maybe
the chair
maybe in a
once.
third world country, I imagine, probably, who knows,
Oh, true.
potentially.
Fair enough.
I just imagine the person being like, you know, like they're watching the thing and they're like, spin it right. And he's like, no, Brendan, he said left. You got to go left at that point. It's just the person in VR is just freaking out.
One more
okay.
comment. Going back to the weird Samsung stuff. James says, I think Samsung was trying a whole World of Tomorrow theme at CES by showing
Yeah.
concepts. So yeah,
Yes,
That's-
the whole
that's-
thing was kind of like
must be a concept.
they kept saying mega cities. They were like mega cities tomorrow.
I
And
thought you
they're
said mega
Bali.
CDs.
Mega CDs.
Mega
No,
Ooh, those sound cool.
we
Yeah,
call those
bring
vinyls.
Make those happen.
Do you want the whole discography of your favorite band on one CD? We got you.
Mega
It's all on
CDs.
Bali. It's all on Bali. The little is it Bali? They kept saying. I swear they kept saying Bali, but I think it should be. Isn't it Bali? Who knows? Anyway.
Americans, right? Am I right?
True.
Well, Bali.
True.
Yeah.
Am I right?
For us,
Bali,
it would be
it's like
Bali.
hairy.
Yeah.
Like hairy. You know, instead of like
Hairy.
Harry. Harry.
Sorry,
It's like
guys.
Harry Potter.
Hello,
Anyway, I'm sorry.
Ari.
What was
Excuse me.
that?
I don't know. I'm sorry.
Well, okay,
I'm sorry.
What did you say?
Oh man! All right. It's proving
Anyway,
that
anyway.
Americans-
let's
anyway.
make fun of Ian, not me.
Oh
Like,
god,
there.
it's
attention's
horribly
on you.
wrong.
Yeah.
Any other comments? Not really.
Okay. No, your comments don't matter. I see him pulling in, but she's not reading them.
Mhm.
So.
No. I had a
Yep.
Mega CD back in 1993. Cool.
What? Those existed?
Did you ever have
so the
Laserdiscs?
next one,
Laserdiscs were cool.
The
Isn't
next
Laserdisc
story.
just a signature?
I'm gonna keep you guys on topic here.
Yeah,
Next
up.
story.
Go for it.
We got another P, the fourth P we forgot about. PSVR sales have surpassed
Yeah.
5
So many
million
Ps.
units. And they also revealed the PS5 logo, which was
Whoa.
revolutionary. Yeah.
Man, that really blew my mind. I was like, wow, they changed the 4 to a 5. It's what they hire people with the big bucks for. It's what the big bucks go towards.
Oh god.
Board
Yeah.
meetings.
I
and
wonder how
whatnot.
much they paid someone to design that, the PS5
Probably
logo.
way too much money for
Yeah.
that. Way too
Yeah.
much. Someone was like, guys, I've got it. Like, turns his little card around. He's like, it says PS5. You're like, woo! It's like all these Sunny Zickers being
Let's
like,
announce this at CES.
It's like the next one will be some guy being like, PSVR 2. And they're like, whoa!
Yeah.
PSVR 2!
I don't know. They seem reluctant to put the 2 in front of anything that's not a PlayStation. You know,
Yeah, that's
PS Vita. I think if that had been called the PSP2, it would have done better just on
What if
name
it's-
alone.
What if it's PS Vita? Like VR Vita?
Ooh,
Yeah.
you're onto something.
I'm on
No.
the
I
side.
had that
so-
thought too. That's a good name.
All right, so Xena,
You're just
let's
gonna
go
say
to
no.
you. let's go to you. What do you think about 5 million PSVRs? Is that good? Is that not as much as you were hoping? Is that impressive? Is it
I
not
think
impressive?
that's pretty solid considering it compared to other headsets. I mean, it's kind of crusty right now compared to the other ones. I love PSVR, absolutely love it, but
Really?
yeah, I do. Okay,
Okay.
I do.
All right.
Do you
But
love it or do you love the content and you put up with it?
no, I love it.
Really?
The whole design, that is the most comfortable headset for me.
Sure. Yeah, I'll give you that. But I just mean you like not being able to turn around or stand up or walk or have analog
I'm
sticks. You
actually
like
not.
that?
I'm not bothered by that. Okay, so when
All right.
you're playing your PlayStation,
Show me
you're
the
already
paycheck.
I made the logo. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I only had 10 minutes, right? I think it's good.
Yeah.
I like that number.
Yeah, I think I agree. I mean, for me, kind of like Harry was alluding to with his kind of jabs over there, I enjoy the PSVR's library in spite of the headset. But in 2019, I don't know. I struggled to motivate myself to put on a headset that I can't turn around in or have analog sticks or move around or I don't know. It feels like it was a 2016 headset because it is, and they just haven't refreshed it or anything. And they're clearly just waiting. And I mean, people still buy it, I guess. So I mean, in their defense, why bother? But
Yeah,
I
exactly.
don't know.
That's what I mean. It's amazing that it has got to fight. It's still growing right now, considering the headset
I've seen some
that I
people
love.
online say like, oh, there's 100 million PS4s, only 5 million PSVRs. Yeah, but I feel like if it was a separate platform, like if the PSVR came out and it was its own Quest, I think it probably would have sold even more. But the fact that you need a PS4 means it's already limiting your potential audience. You can't just buy the headset. You need a PS4 already. And so, I mean, and that way it is more affordable because if you already have it and then years later you can buy the headset, but
And
I don't know.
I think to some degree too, like for example, I got sent a video on Christmas of a friend of mine who was videoing his little brother in PSVR that he just got for Christmas. And it's like if you're not obviously you can go and research and do your research about if you want to buy a VR headset for like a kid or something, right? But if the kid has a PS4 and you want to
Right.
get them something for Christmas or whatever, it's like, well, I know that I can buy this and that's that. And it's kind of like
Yeah.
it's not like it's hard to kind of look up the rest of the decisions and what options there are, whatever. But for kind of the unassuming parent that walks into a GameStop or whatever, it's just kind of like, well, I can buy a PSVR and I know that
And I
guaranteed
mean,
that works.
it is a little hard though because like there are 4 Oculus headsets, and
Yeah,
there are a
exactly.
lot of articles. Like I
Exactly.
think, didn't
I mean,
you
it's
see
not
a
hard for
Business
us that it's
Insider
like,
article that flat out got the information wrong about the differences between the Oculus headsets?
Yeah.
Oh, there was a I don't think it was Business Insider, but there were some really bad reports over
Yeah,
Christmas. Yeah.
sorry, Business Insider.
Don't
There
blame
was
me.
some bad. Well, no, Business Insider. Yeah, go ahead. But I just don't think it was that particular article.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so like
There's-
you could
even the images are always wrong, too.
legitimately Google things and try to do the research
Yeah.
and still get misinformed.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And so like I mean, but then so like we were saying in Sony's defense, if you have a PS4, you can walk in a store and get a PSVR and what you're getting.
Yeah.
And
Or
so
even if
that
you walk into a GameStop and you're like, "Hi, my kid has a PS4. Like, A, does this VR thing work with what they've got? Or B, what can I get them as like an add-on?" And they'd be like, "Well, it's PSVR." Or they'd be like, "Yep, that works with your PS4. That's that." So I think from that perspective, it's very easy to kind of sell.
Yeah, for sure.
The one thing I want to bring up there is like the one number I would love to have out of the VR market is average hours played in a VR headset by so a person buys a VR headset, what's the average number of hours put into that particular type of headset by
like,
the average
are they
person
just
who
getting
owns it?
PSVRs
So, like,
and not ever using them after like playing Skyrim for an hour kind of thing?
I would guess Index and Quest have the highest usage per on average when you average it out across users. And maybe I would maybe even argue Index probably has the highest, but that could be wrong. Quest could outdo it. But I think PSVR is probably low on that scale at this point.
I would guess Quest has higher because you're going to give it to people to try out, and by nature, you're kind of taking it more places. So by giving it to other, I mean, maybe because I guess if you're buying an Index, you're kind of dedicated to VR. I guess. But I reckon Quest, just because you can take it around, like if you add up all the hours I've demoed my Quest to people, that's probably a huge add-on to my own playtime as well. So
Yeah.
who knows?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Just a couple comments. Hot off the press, Sony only paid $2 million for their new logo. I don't know how true that is, but
I
apparently
hope
that's
I
that
hope
was said.
that's
That's a
not
number
true.
that's floating out there.
$2 million
it's
too
It's
much.
a number out there.
Only $2
Should have
million.
paid $5 million,
Yeah.
to be honest.
And well, just to kind of clarify, Samsung covered nothing else than VR related, like
I
nothing,
didn't see anything.
No,
just absolutely nothing.
no. It was
Although
only
I
the
will say I
glasses.
think they've got an event coming up soon where they might do new product announcements.
Is that the Galaxy Unpacked or whatever event?
Yeah, I need to talk to you about that, David. Can you go to that in San Francisco?
No, I'm busy that day.
Yeah. What?
Cool. That's it. I think that's that.
So speaking of things that were not at CES, HTC pouring out.
Ah.
What a segue.
Yep.
Speaking of things we didn't try at CES.
Well, I mean, it's worth talking about because
No, it definitely is.
The day before CES, we get an email. They're like, "Oh, hey, by the way, those appointments we made? Yeah, we're not going." Like that.
Yeah,
That's what it was like. It was literally
That
like they were like,
confused me,
"Oh,
'cause
hey,
it's like they had something planned
yeah."
because you had a point. So what? One, what was it? And two,
Like in all past years, they've had a press conference at CES. Like they put all the journalists in a room. They like announce new products. They announce new headsets. They have all these demos. Like the HTC was like the one reliable VR company at CES that we always got content and announcements from. I mean, whether or not you get excited is another thing, but at least they were there like doing things. But this year they just flat out canceled the appointments, and I don't know. It sounds like they
In their defense, they probably should have done that last year with the Cosmos.
Ooh.
Damn.
Ooh.
Okay.
Fire.
Do you remember how creepy
fire
it was
react.
with the people around the? Were you in that room when they did their announcement, and then all the HTC employees or whoever it was in the room around the journalists, all clapping.
Yeah.
After the announcement.
They made us all sit down in chairs, and then they stood up around us in a circle and just clapped.
And you obeyed. You did it.
Hey, I was live streaming it because they weren't streaming their own conference, so I had to stream it so people could see it
on a really bad connection.
Yeah, it was pretty poor. Yeah, but people watched.
It's like
I did it for the people. You hear that?
All I can hear is crusty people
that?
like clapping in the background. It's like, what's going on? It's like, yeah, sorry, all that's going on is clapping.
But what they did say is that they're going to share their new vision for Vive soon. It sounds like sometime near Mobile World Congress, which is in Barcelona always, right, every year?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We'll be covering that for sure.
Good old Spangland.
No, yeah. Comment, poor HTC. Yeah, poor HTC.
Yeah.
Poor.
I mean, to recap, I mean, 2016 to now has always been. You're absolutely right. HTC has been there, but like they always in that first few years they were helped by Valve, right? So Chet Falisek was there in 2016, explaining the Vive Pre, and giving the real direct, this is why room scale is valuable. And it's not just room scale. You can sit down, you can stand, you can use it in all the configurations. And so, like, they had that backing of Valve early on, and it evaporated. And Valve has their Index now, and HTC went their own way to try to do Inside Out, and I don't know how that's working out for them. It's just sad to see. There's only been.
I think the
short
Steam user
history.
survey tells us how it's working out. The Cosmos is at 0%.
Oof.
But that's also like two things. One, it could be at 0% if there's such a small amount of people that.
Yeah. I think that's what it is. I personally know at least one person that bought one, so it's not literally zero.
No,
at least one person.
It would also depend on where they have
or one person.
You have to have it plugged in as well at the same time, right? So it has to be like the Cosmos has to be plugged in at the time you run the survey as well, correct?
I don't know the
I
answer
think
to
I
that.
think Yes, I
Yeah.
think that's
Heaney
how it
God
works.
says correct.
So-
Heaney God says correct.
Heaney God is correct. So if it wasn't plugged in, then it obviously wouldn't register, as is the case with all of them, not just the Cosmos. But maybe people bought a Cosmos, haven't got it plugged in, and just using whatever else they have or whatever. So, but yes, it's very low regardless.
Yep.
0%, still low, no matter which
To
way
keep
you
with
look at
the,
it.
And to be clear, Index is on that list, right? And I mean, like it's got a fair percentage, and it's very expensive when you add up all that hardware.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a good showing for Valve.
Yeah. To keep with the doom and gloom, a couple comments here have said that there hasn't really been that much VR going on. Only major companies. I think most major companies have written off VR for now.
Mm.
Would you agree? I don't know.
I wouldn't say most.
I wouldn't say
would
so.
Yeah, I wouldn't say most. I mean, think of any major tech company on the planet, and I can probably tell you something they're doing in VR or AR. It might not be consumer facing and available to the public at the moment, but
That's
I
the
think they're
thing,
all
isn't
working
it?
on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there are so many enterprise headsets, especially at CES right now, that
Yeah, or
you kind of
experimental
glaze over it.
software. Like Amazon is behind the scenes. We know they're working on like shopping type stuff and AR,
Mhm.
and Apple we know is. I mean, they're. I think everyone's where. It just takes time. That's just how it is.
Can you imagine those, like, those Amazon grocery stores they have, or whatever you call a grocery
Whole
store in
Foods.
America? Well, no, like not the Whole Foods, but the ones where you walk in and you just take stuff off the shelf. It's actually like an
Yeah.
Amazon.
The people-less ones. Yeah.
I've never seen one, but
Yeah,
I've heard about them. Yeah.
the peopleless ones. You just
What?
imagine that with like AR. Haven't you not heard of this?
No.
So it's like
Yeah.
it's
Just
like a
steal
grocery store.
everything.
There's no,
No.
because you
Well,
can't.
see,
No,
you
'cause
have your
it's
phone
linked.
with you or whatever,
Yeah.
and it like you scan
It
to get
knows who
in,
you
and then
are.
the cameras can
Oh.
like track your movement and know what you're doing, and you
Yeah.
What is
take
the
So
something.
if you
Yeah.
pick something off your shelf, it knows.
Sorry.
It knows that you took it off the shelf, and then when you walk out, it just charges your Amazon account, and it
I
knows
would
what you
be
took on
too
the.
paranoid to walk into there. Like,
Yeah, it's really
Yeah.
weird. But
That was a
imagine that with
problem
like
for it. Yeah.
AR stuff
Yeah.
too. Like, imagine you got
I
a
mean,
pair
it's
of AR
cool,
glasses on,
but
and imagine like Amazon's recommendation. Like, imagine then you take milk off the shelf, and it's like Amazon recommends that these milks as well. they'd be just all over that.
we
I
know
can
you
see
like
Yeah.
them all
milk.
over AR stuff. Like, here's more milk. That's how Amazon works, though. It's like, we know you like this. Like, here's the same thing from 5
Now
different brands.
I
It's
understand why
baby
you don't
milk.
buy motion chairs, it's so you can afford all that milk.
Exactly.
Oh,
Milk
yeah.
Yeah.
that I buy
Oh,
off
yeah.
Amazon.
Yeah, for your third fridge,
Correct.
it's just milk. Yeah.
Yeah, my milk fridge. Correct.
Another comment just to go off the back of the bigger companies kind of ignoring it. Another comment up there somewhere said they only think it's startups, but I think that's pretty encouraging if people think there are so many startups who have come to CES to show VR stuff. That isn't necessarily a bad thing or a negative
it's
thing
also
reflecting on the rest
it's
of
not
the
specific
industry.
to VR or AR either. Like these trade shows
Mm.
always have a lot of startups.
Mm.
It doesn't matter
Yeah.
if it's CES or E3 or GDC or PAX or whatever
Mm.
it is. That's just kind of the nature of it because that's how you get exposure.
Yeah.
One
Yeah,
one
absolutely.
thing I was wondering, which I'd like to get your opinion on, Ian, because it seems like compared to other years, this is a fairly quiet year for VR and AR at CES, all things considered. Is that because of the pullout from HTC? Do you think is that like a big presence that feels like it's missing, or is it just even if HTC was there, do you feel like overall it'd still feel more
Well,
quiet?
all right. So there's a lot to unpack, but it's like the show floor space for VR and AR was actually quite large. There's a fair
Mm.
number of companies out there demonstrating over quite a large area of the Las Vegas Convention Center, and then there's a whole bunch of other companies in other areas of Vegas. So like they're taking up a lot of floor space, but there's clearly a switch in sort of the mix of the companies, like Pico or not Pico, Insta360 appears to be the only 360 camera company that I saw out there. Where in previous years and at other events, there's been like 4 or 5 different companies trying to hawk 360 cameras, and it seems like the Chinese-based, the China-based 360 camera company is the only one to survive and get through it, or one of the only ones. So like that's the kind of switch happening where there's being a shakeout of all the companies that can actually do the hard work to make this technology appealing. And Facebook has its own conference for VR at OC6 each year, where they're going to come out and say, "This is our price. These are our amazing games. This is who we're buying, and this is what the future looks like." And they don't need to get lost in the shuffle of all these other companies.
Yeah, that's
CES.
a really good point. It's almost like the bigger VR gets, the more it will branch out into its own spotlight rather than needing CES to rise it up.
Yeah.
And so that's an interesting point that I hadn't.
And
even
you'll probably
considered
have
that myself.
like HTC. I mean, they could. I mean, we know they're going to do something later on, but they could have their own little HTC thing if they wanted to at this point, couldn't they? Even if it was just like a Nintendo Direct stuff.
If they had the money for it.
Well, yeah, well, but in general, it's a fire coming from that side of the room over there. But
sheesh.
But in general, I'm just saying, if they wanted to, they could do their own thing at this point now, right? Like they could, as I said, they don't need to rely on CES anymore. They could start their own little thing if they wanted to.
Yeah,
I mean, I would expect that out of Samsung. Might even expect it out of Valve.
Yeah,
like Valve could take that reins and do a bigger Steam Dev Days and really attract people that way. I mean, there's enough Steam devs out there and enough fans of Steam that
Isn't GDC
they could do
as
something
well
new.
usually big for Valve?
Oh yeah, GDC is huge for devs, those companies to announce their platforms. And I would expect a big GDC this year.
Yeah, GDC is always my favorite show, personally.
Although, did they do away with the VR AR portion of GDC? Is it now just GDC? They're not doing.
I don't know. It's so confusing
VRDC
because VRDC, GDC, XRDC. I don't know.
When is GDC usually? I always get them mixed up. What time of year is GDC?
It's gonna be, I think, March.
March? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Well, James is still rooting for HTC. The Nexus Lord.
That someone is.
Yeah, glad someone is. The Nexus Lords think Steam needs to be fixed. So far as HMD ownership goes, start looking for drivers and games installed in addition to a headset actually being plugged in at the exact moment.
Yeah, so there were some problems with the last hardware survey. Their numbers were all mixed up in the last hardware survey, and that's really a bummer to have in such a big month.
Yeah,
because we want to know how big the VR market is and how it's growing. That number is all messed up.
Show me the numbers.
It's hard too because you don't have any Quest comparison, which I feel like is the huge, part of that equation that's missing. There's no.
All right, here we get it. You have a Quest. We understand.
No, I'm just saying because there's no metric for like how many there's sort of all right. Even though the Steam servers aren't reliable, there's no.
Without comparative analytics, it's hard to really gauge anything.
Yeah.
So like PSVR 5 million units, that's great, but I mean, what does that mean?
That's
Quest
also the only concrete number we have for anything, right? Like.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can move on to some encouraging news, some things that are more exciting.
Yeah, let's get happy.
Let's do it. Get excited. NVIDIA has increased VR sharpness for RTX cards with a variable rate super sampling. I read the article. I don't really know what that means. So
cool.
Ian,
as I understand it, they will, if you've got enough horsepower, you've got enough extra oomph in your card.
Extra get up and go.
They'll give you more sharpness in the center of your vision, where you'll actually notice it more often. Because that's where your main view is.
So it's kind of the opposite of foveated rendering.
I think it's Heaney, you can correct me, but is it similar to fixed foveated rendering?
Yeah.
He said essentially the opposite. Heaney God agrees with me. The Davids are together. You see that? You see that right there? Our minds have connected.
My fingers aren't quite touching.
The painting.
But
the God painting.
Okay, good. Okay.
At the Sistine Chapel.
That is David, right?
Exactly, David.
God, it is.
Yeah.
God's reaching down. He's reaching down. You're like...
Put it on the wall next time, right there. I want my Da Vinci back here.
Oh God, the main guy thing's got to your head too much.
Hey, I didn't even use that term. That was you.
Okay. Sorry.
Right.
Okay.
All right.
But yes, to go on, it's the opposite of fixed foveated rendering. So it's
that's good then. If you have like a powerful card and a good computer, then
and it's only certain games, right? Too. It's like 20-ish games that are supported, and you have to go in and still have to go in and enable it for each game
And
individually.
we have a guide at uploadvr.com that you can check out on how to
Yep.
do that.
Yep.
Cool. So I think it's time to talk about the big P, the P that everyone's been peeing about. That's the
The conceptual toilet. The conceptual VR toilet.
So that's a real thing, by the
VIP.
way.
He's got it written on his
VIP.
screen over there. It says
I've got it written on my
conceptual VR
screen. That was
toilet
one
on
of
the
the
screen.
there was a joke for those who are not in the know. There was a joke at CES of someone made a conceptual VR toilet, and it's like a
It
little.
was Charmin.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Yeah,
It's
the
like a
toilet
little
paper
toilet.
company. Yeah.
The toilet paper company. Yeah, we don't have that in Australia. I don't know. Like,
Oh, okay.
we don't.
They're a
you know
big
what I mean?
deal.
Different-
Okay,
different-
those
different
bears
brands.
are
We use
They're
adorable.
leaves.
big. Yeah. No. No. Oh, Jesus. Stop. No. But essentially, it was like you're in a toilet roll, and there's a toilet, and you can put on a VR headset in the toilet. That was like the joke announcement, and that's
Yeah, I
like
think
my one.
they said
my
like
one
if
note
you're at a
was
concert
conceptual
and you
VR
don't want to
toilet.
miss a minute while you're
Yeah,
taking
that
a
was
dump,
so. Yeah,
you
they were
can
like
keep watching the concert.
Forget about games. Like, no, if you're at a VR concert, because that's a huge portion of like the VR market. It's like for all you VR concert watchers, don't worry, you can go to the toilet
Yeah.
and continue watching.
I'm
It's like
I'm
the one
focused on
guy
a lot
that's
of other
psyched.
things. Like, there's lots of things I'm trying not to touch in a toilet at a concert. Yeah. Okay.
And lots of
Trying to
things
stay
that I'm trying
away.
to do.
Not
like,
putting my eyes.
And
Yeah.
that's how you get pink eye. Moving on. So
Take it from
the
David.
real yeah. hey.
Oh, that's so good.
I've had my fair share of pink eye. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh,
Oh,
God.
God.
David.
Okay.
Oh.
Oh,
It-
get away from me!
keep it
I'm
PG for
across the
Spotify,
ocean.
please.
I
Mulder.
can't. I can't
Jeez.
sit here.
Anyway, the big P, the one that everyone's been excited about, the Panasonic AR glasses. They're ultra compact. No, they're VR glasses. I'm
VR.
sorry.
VR glasses. VR glasses.
I
Hey,
said
now.
VR. I corrected myself
you
before
corrected
you
yourself. I'm sorry.
interrupted me.
We had the
Panasonic
internet
is
to-
showing their ultra compact VR glasses. There are very few details, but they are HDR OLED micro displays. And Ian, you were impressed by it.
Yeah, so like I got a draft article written, and I'm holding on to it to just make sure I've got my specs right. I've sent some questions over to Panasonic just to make sure they explain themselves clearly and I understood it clearly. Since I don't want to really misrepresent what they're pitching in this early state. But I tracked them down, I put them on, tried them out, and I feel like a hypocrite because I've been crapping on Oculus Go for the last. I've been crapping on Oculus Go for the last 3 months, and it's such a shameful situation that Oculus Go is like the bestseller, one of the bestseller headsets of the Christmas season of 2019, and here I am at OC or at CES 2020 and trying a $3 headset. I'm like, that's pretty cool.
What did you actually do in it? What was the demo?
So they just showed a couple 360 videos. I think there was some that were 2D, some that were 3D. The most impressive one was just it moved through a temple, some kind of temple, and it just so there. If for those that haven't seen it, they're very very small. Micro displays are put the controllers down, but micro displays are extremely small, and the field of view of the glasses is smaller than I'm used to. But they claimed that they could get to 100 degrees or about current VR headset levels with by going to a bigger micro display inside these glasses. So I went to this
a bigger micro display.
a slightly like a one.
Okay.
I think they said it was. I'm saying the stats now that I'm trying to fact check with them, but I think they said they were using 1-inch micro displays in each of these units on either for each eye, and then there's this little dial that's right over the bridge of the glasses that you could twist to position the IPD and get them directly in front of your eyeballs. They said that the adjustment there can adjust to under 60 millimeters distant between the eyeballs or over 70 millimeters between the eyeballs. I think I'm on the very wide end of that range. So I twisted the dial to get them very wide, put it on my eyes. It fits snugly right over my eyes like swim goggles, almost. And then yeah, the moment you're in there, it's actually a fairly wide field of view relative to AR glasses, but smaller than the current market standard for VR glasses.
So how
And they
was the
claim,
resolution on this? Like, and
and it
they
was
claimed that
gorgeous.
there's no screen door effect, so like it looked super sharp.
It did. So
Okay.
it was running off of a PC, and so there was one moment where they dumped me into Steam VR Home, where I just saw the empty landscape space in Steam VR Home, and I'm like trying to look around as quickly as I can to try to look for the screen door effect before the next piece of content loaded.
They're
And
like, oh god, shut
and
it down, shut it down.
but yeah, it was only three. It was only $3. Obviously, they claim that they can put cameras on them for $6. They're considering what sort of $6 functionality or what kind of design market could work for these things.
Is it?
Um,
Did you
Are they
did
actually
you happen
like
to add?
glasses? Like, do they sit in your ears? They don't have a strap. They're actually
yeah,
just like
so they've
sitting.
got they've got the bars, I can't think of what
Like
temples
the yeah.
that go over each ear, and it's just like sunglasses.
Doesn't
And then
light kind of leak in? Like, doesn't it? I can't
well,
imagine
they've
it
got
sitting flushing
no, so
against your
they've got
face.
some kind of like facial interface that kind of blocks
Right.
the light around the eyes so that it fairly does a pretty good job of keeping you in there.
So
Yeah, gotcha.
a couple
Did you-
questions from the chat. One, isn't it only a media consumption advice, and which kind of content platforms is it compatible with?
Great questions. They are not. It's too early to answer those questions. There was a USB-C connector on the back of the left tip
Stem.
of the behind your ear. So you put these two over your temples on the sides, and then in theory the USB cord will go down to a phone in your pocket, and you can maybe pull out the pocket and select what you want and play it on a very high resolution, very pretty screen, and get to enjoy some content that way. Where
So there
we
was
could
no
watch like a 3D
controller
movie
then; it
or
was
something.
just connected to your phone.
Well, in the demo, it was connected to a high-powered PC. I think I saw an RTX card inside the
okay.
PC, but
in
in
theory,
theory, the end goal here is that this would run from a phone.
Did you happen to ask them at all about people that wear glasses? Because
that's what I was
what
going
I'm
to say.
curious
Because I
about.
can't imagine it.
The very first thing they asked me was what kind of correction do I need, and they had a series of lenses that they could have put on in place of the lens, and I just said, don't give me any correction. I've been to an optometrist, but I'm like sort of resisting going back again to get a new prescription until I really have to. So I just typically don't wear prescription, don't wear glasses. So I told them not to give me any correction. But yeah, they had a whole series of lenses that they could have swapped in depending on my prescription.
Gotcha. For me, I'd have to be like, what's your strongest one?
Yeah.
Usually they don't have it. Like whenever I've gone diving and stuff, they don't even bring the ones that I need because my vision's so bad. So I don't know. We'll see. I've tried Magic Leap, it just doesn't really work because for that reason.
The other thing I was going to ask too with the glasses is obviously the big selling point, or one of the kind of things that they keep talking about, is that it's HDR. Was that noticeable? Like,
I feel it's one of those things where like I needed more than 5 or 10 minutes in there to kind of make a decision. But like in that temple scene, I really felt like there was a wider range of light that I'm seeing in there. It felt warm and very, very nice. I really enjoyed the visuals provided that micro.
Because that is the first like HDR display we have in kind of any VR headset, right? Doesn't exist elsewhere, I'm pretty sure. Which is interesting.
I haven't heard anyone else pitching them. I remember someone from Valve talking at one of the conferences where they said they stuck an HDR inside of a prototype, and it was so warm that they put a beach scene in the headset, and you could feel like the warmth of the sun because it was putting out so much light.
Because the screen was
the display, and so it felt like you were actually on a beach.
Yeah, interesting. There you
go. Couple things. Just to trigger Ian a bit. In one of the comments, it said that Go deserves to be a bestseller. Moving on.
We'll leave that one there.
There you go. Simmer on
You can
that.
go read some. There's some editorials for you. You can go read if you want Ian's opinion on that.
Oculus Go Away is the URL. Yeah.
I'm gonna write Ian go away.
Yeah.
Oh. Have
Someone
we
will.
talked about the new Goofy Palmer Lucky Face being passed around?
The Panasonic one?
What's that with him?
I
Yeah.
believe so.
Similar to. Yeah, I joked at some point where he suddenly grew the goatee and stuff, and
It looks terrible, by the way.
it
Palmer,
looked like he.
If you
that
watch
goatee,
it,
that
look at that
goatee
razor.
is straight trash, bro.
Just Kaya being thrown.
Freaking
today.
It looked
It
like
looks awful.
No, it happened.
Clip it.
He grew all that after he got fired from Facebook, and it was almost like we got the alternate version of him. Like this is the
Yeah, the
version
evil
of him
version,
that
like
came
in
from-
Community.
Oh, God,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh god, yeah.
With him with his little like steampunk goggles on, he's like, look at me now, running around with his cyberpunk goggles.
Where's
and he's like,
Blair
"There's the other."
Renaud? That guy
the
isn't
other-
his avatar basically he's wearing goggles that look just like
Yes,
the Panasonic
it's-
one?
Yeah.
it is. And there was
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
a
He
photo
should be
of
in the
Palmer
comments.
trying
He's been
an
watching.
arm. There was another thing of Palmer trying like an exoskeleton arm as well, and he was like lifting
Yeah.
a suitcase
Uh-huh.
of an arm.
Oh,
I suppose
yeah.
him like running around the CES show floor with his like goggles and exoskeleton suitcase and arm kind of thing.
Yeah, give
What a
it a
sight.
couple years. He'll be Palpatining all over the place. Spoiler alert, I guess. I don't know.
Unlimited power.
Um,
Um,
going back to what we were talking about, I'm kind of interested in their optical stack. If they get a big sweet spot with a micro display.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the.
Those are words.
So
There's a
I
word.
felt like I saw a little bit of ghosting. So
What does that mean?
So yeah, I was talking about it with Heaney to try to make sure I described this right. But there was in one of the videos that I saw in that headset, there was subtitles, and above the subtitles there was a ghost image of the subtitles, just very almost entirely transparent.
Oh, that's weird.
But like off at an angle, you could just see this slight like after image of the subtitles
Huh.
represented, and then there was a white light that I was going past, and it also had this white image floating above it, and I couldn't tell if that was being caught by the lenses or if that was presented by the micro display. But yeah,
But just to be clear though, did you have like actual technical issues with the Panasonic demo?
I mean, that is the only one. I mean, that's the only thing I could
Okay.
really complain, other than limited field of view compared to what I'm used to in a
I
current
guess
VR
you can
headset.
say that's the successful demo of.
I would
CES so
say
far.
I would give them a lot of credit for showing
There we
something
go.
new.
Yeah,
I mean, something
Pico,
first.
other people are
Inreal,
doing this.
Pimax, all
Oh.
those demos had
All the fake peas.
yeah, all the
Pico-
fake
Pico-
peas.
No,
Little
and
peas.
to be completely fair, at Pico they had their Neo 2, and then they had their Neo 2i, and then they're like, okay, we've actually got this new experimental headset over here,
Oh,
and
God.
it's
What do they have?
VR eyeglasses, similar design, optical design to what Panasonic had, and I go and put them on, and I really almost went cross-eyed in like 2 minutes.
Oh
It
my
was that.
I thought
That
you were
bad.
gonna say. I think when you were like, "Oh, to be fair, Pico," and I was like, "Oh, here we go." You're gonna say something like ridiculous. They had these nice
and so,
glasses,
like-
and they were kind of as good as Panasonic. Then you're like, "No, I almost went cross-eyed." Forget it."
No, I'm saying like it's the same optical design
Yeah.
as what I saw at Panasonic, but Panasonic did
Didn't
a
work as
very
well.
good job. They had the very
Mhm.
nice IPD.
Yeah, you're saying to be
adjustment.
fair to Panasonic, they did well. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Did you ask them if their new VR goggles come with a Walkman so you can listen to music at the same time?
No, they only play cassette.
Pretty good.
You've got
Oh,
a
sorry.
cassette extension that plays into the side
Cassette,
Yeah.
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 You just
Mega CDs only.
mega
Mega
CDs only.
CDs.
So the last topic we have on our list, before I get to that, do we have any other comments that we want to check out? Any shout outs?
Pico G3 Life, sadly only a 3K panel. Light.
That's oh, he meant light. Okay, I was going to say
Mm.
that's a
He meant light.
sad life. Okay.
More comments on Palmer. Enjoying those. We
Yeah.
all agree he looks evil.
Yeah, get rid of that goatee.
The goatee.
You know.
It's definitely the goatee.
Yeah. Not working, bro. I
Mm.
can dig the tropical shirts and sandals, that's fine. Get rid of the goatee.
Can you? Look,
I have spoken.
David has spoken. David has spoken, lifting his finger up.
Hussein X also says, I'm interested in Panasonic VR. If it also has at least 2K per eye.
I didn't get the actual panel. I mean, that's I'm trying to confirm those stats with them. It looked very, very high resolution. Like I said, I did not see a screen door. I did not really. I don't remember seeing any kind of screen door. But obviously, if they use a bigger panel,
resolution, was Varjo there at CES?
They are somewhere. I haven't seen them yet. They're in like a different building. Yeah. Or there's a Varjo headset somewhere else. I don't know if that's them.
Okay.
I have one more question because I just thought of this. You obviously have been, not a huge fan of the Go, but if this is a 3DoF headset as well, what is it about this one that you actually enjoyed that made you be like?
It's so darn light. I mean, it's a whole world of lightness different. They said 150 or so grams is what they were targeting,
right.
and like that's just. I mean, like these things. We don't want these things to be luxury devices that they only access a small market because they're such luxury devices, and that's all the defenders of Go out there are saying. Look, you're being full. You're not respecting the fact that there's a very large market of people that can only afford a $200 device. So I get that. So like I don't know that these micro displays and this Panasonic are going to be able to hit that low a price that you hook up to your phone to just have a local media viewer. But let me
check something real quick. I'm from the future. Watch this. Okay, Google, how many pounds are in a gram? Wait, I did it backwards. No, stop, Google. Okay, Google, how many grams are in a pound?
Why didn't you just ask it?
I just did, and it tells me what to multiply by.
Hey Google, how many pounds is 153 grams?
153 grams equals 0.337.
There you go.
There
I know how to operate a Google.
That's amazing.
I asked it how many grams are in a pound, and it gave me the multiplication formula. That's not what I want.
Why would you not just ask it? You didn't ask this. I asked a specific amount. I said how many pounds is 153.
Look.
Yeah, just
listen.
All right. Anyway,
listen.
It's 0.3 pounds. That's the end.
That's very light. Okay.
Yeah, very light. Very light.
Cool.
Okay, you've triggered off two other people's assistants now, so
sorry, guys.
Stop with the.
Yeah, sorry. Google, it still like triggers it, but you can play like a frequency. The Amazon ads for the Amazon assistant will play a frequency,
Alexa.
so that they're.
I think we went offline.
There. Anyway,
Uni?
No, it's right there.
Okay, cool. Never mind.
So the very last thing that's on our list is another thing that you were impressed by, I believe, if I remember correctly, and that's the XTAL, the newest headset from VR Engineers, the newest model of the XTAL. It's an $8,000 headset with dual 4K panels and foveated rendering, and you tried it out on a $50,000 flight sim rig.
There's as many pixels in that as there is dollars that it costs.
There you go.
$1 per pixel.
$1 per pixel. Start putting them one at a time.
Yeah.
That's what PPD is. Price per pixel. Price per.
There you go.
Price per dollar.
PP.
It's all about the P's today.
It's the 3 P's. The P's are back.
The P's are back.
So that was a weird one. So the first time I tried it, it was only 3DoF because they said there was too much interference with the lighthouse trackers, and I held it up. I'm like, okay, I want to see this with 6DoF. It's like, well, you should come to the show floor and see it in our motion platform. So I came and met on the show floor, and yeah, they actually integrated the XTAL headset into a flight helmet. So you put on the helmet, and it's got a wide field of view that, I mean, it's the lenses. There was still some stuff at the lenses, but it wasn't as noticeable to me as the problems I noticed with the Pimax lenses. And yeah, I was in an F-18 Hornet flying, what was it? It was a flight stick right here, and I'm, doing the turns around Dubai, over Dubai, and there's an alarm going off because I'm flying too low over Dubai. I think in DCS world. And it just, I'm looking at the sunset. The sunset looks gorgeous. I'm seeing the light on all the panels. I'm leaning into all the panel tools and seeing really crisp text on all of
That sounds so cool.
all of the items around me. It was a really beautiful
And the whole
experience.
The whole plane kind of seat that you were in was moving, like from the video that I saw. It was moving like up and down and all over the place, right? It wasn't just like I can't do it in my chair, is what I'm saying.
It wasn't
matching.
matching.
I can't lift my chair up and down.
I can't say it was completely matching, but yeah, like leaning forward and leaning back, there was enough there that I really got that feeling of what I was doing in the plane.
Look, I'm gonna throw it out there. If anyone in the Northern California area wants to drop $60K on this rig and headset, I will pay an hourly fee to go check that out. I think you can make a killing on that.
If anyone wants to pay, I will try it.
Yeah.
I will come along.
That's right.
If anyone would like to buy for me, I'll be your best friend.
One of the founders or one of the people at the company was like, yeah, this demo here is why I got into doing this, and it's what I've been dreaming of the whole time, and I really believe that because of what it looked like inside.
Because I've tried the like CXC, I think is the company name for the driving simulator rigs, and those are very impressive, right? Like I remember I was at Project Cars 2. I did a demo of that in VR back before it came out, and another journalist there actually was bleeding on his hand because the steering wheel was so violently shaking. Whenever he crashed, it like whipped it and like it was spinning out, and it scraped his thumb so hard that he started bleeding. And it was like it was just such like, and I mean it was like the chair was shaking like driving a car is very different. Like I can do that in real life. I've done that before, so I know that simulator is pretty satisfying and cool, but flying a jet's something I'll probably never do. So like that just sounds so awesome to me. I would love to do a high-end simulation like that for like an hour.
I want to mention
aimed at.
Yeah, I mean that's military use. I mean like that's
so it is just for military use. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
But I want to mention, since it's apparently not on your list, haptics. So I tried haptics too. That's
HAPTX.
Yeah. And they had that was the first time I've actually tried their haptic gloves, and I've got another appointment for more haptic gloves today. I think Tatiana's going to try to see some.
Contact CI, right?
Yeah.
Sweet.
I should see them today, right after I do the download. But haptics. So they had this telepresence robot. Is the best way I would describe it. So they had their VR demo where I put on the VR headset and did felt things in my hand, like water droplets dripping onto my hand, and a fox running around on the palm of my hand, a little itty bitty fox, and a spider that I squished because it looked creepy, and it was nice. But
oh man,
yeah. The next thing was I put my hands into these gloves, and they aligned a robot up to the more or less the orientation of my hands, and then when I move all my fingers, the robot moved its fingers, but the robot had these little things on the tips of its fingers that sent the sensations of what's in the robot's grip back to my grip. And it was the coolest thing I think I've ever done. I mean, it was so neat.
Wow, that's a quote right there.
I mean,
the coolest thing I think I've ever done.
Put that on the movie poster.
I embodied a robot for a second. I mean, like it's the first time I've really felt what a robot felt and had that feeling transferred back. So I'm transferring my control to a robot, and the robot's hands, what the robot's feeling back to me. And it felt like, after a few minutes of manipulating, all I'm doing is grabbing red cups with my fingers. But like the moment the robot's fingers collide with the edges of the cup, I feel that in my hand.
That's pretty
crazy. There's a transfer there of feeling that was really impressive.
I remember reading about.
Same... Sorry, just like the same ridges. Like, were there like details on the cup that you could feel, or is it just the general feel of grabbing it?
It's so hard to describe some of this stuff because my brain is filling in gaps for me on some of this stuff. Like I'm not like I said, there's these tips on the hand of the robot that were able to like kind of transfer that feeling over to me because that's the way the haptics gloves work. So they're pumping air into little what they call like haptic pixels, but like there's these little bubbles all over those haptics gloves that activate when I'm in contact with something that I should be in
Hi-
contact with,
That is
simulated.
so amazing.
And
Would it feel different
yeah,
if you
like
picked up like a soft blanket compared to like a cup? Is it like
in
if there was a
theory, but
blanket
like
there and a cup?
there was like a cup, there was a
it
kid's
wasn't enough for
toy.
you to
And so
try.
like
Yeah.
one of those kids' toys where you have 5 things of different size all on a pole, and I was I was picking up the smallest ring, and I was just doing this motion, right? And I'm slowly closing my fingers, and the moment it collides, the robot's hand collides with the thing, I feel that in my fingers, and so I know to stop gripping and not grab harder. So I grip it and I pull off one ring, and then I grip it and I pull off another ring.
That's amazing.
That's so cool.
And then I'm trying to reach over and grab another ring. And it's just having that out of body experience was really cool.
Just
It reminds
imagine,
me
like-
of
Go for it.
this
Go
one
on.
thing I remember reading about where they had that exact technology, and then they paired it with VR to control a robot
That's what I was just gonna
overseas doing
say.
surgery.
Yeah.
That's in
Yeah.
theory
Wow.
exactly what they would do.
Yeah.
That's so
So
cool.
was the robot arm like strong enough to crush stuff as well? Like, could you
Well, so-
just go like
Ooh.
hardcore on it?
That's what I was. So Tatiana and Kyle teased me after this because like Kyle's asking, "Can I shake your hand?" I go, "Okay," and I reach forward and I shake his hand, and he
You pulled
jokes,
it
"Oh,
off.
you crushed my hand." I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
"Oh," and then Tatiana wants to shake my hand, and so I reached out and shook her hand more lightly. She's like, "Why are you not crushing my hand?" Like, oh, God. Like,
Damned if you do, damned if you
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah.
But
That's the real reason Kyle isn't here. His hand is literally broken now.
yeah,
It's
Yeah.
pulp.
Yeah.
Robot Ian destroyed his hand.
there's a photo of there's Jeff Bezos, the Amazon CEO, there's some photo of him trying these things out and just giggling like a maniac because you get
he
this
has
I'm gonna
feeling
buy
of
this
like, "Yeah,
tomorrow,
look at my
but
I was gonna say,
power."
oh, but not really.
He's like, I'm gonna buy this tomorrow. all this technology's mine as of Monday.
A couple comments here. Someone asked if the XTAL was as good as Varjo. Heaney answered that, saying that Varjo wins on resolution. However, the field of view is wider. Could you like compare that yourself?
I haven't tried the latest Varjos. They're always doing new things with Varjo, so it's hard to say like what the status is of their latest hardware that they're shipping now. But I've always found in the earlier ones I've tried of Varjo, the transition, they have the centered hyper display and then the lower resolution outside peripheral display. And I've always found there's a slight transition between the two displays that's still visible, and I would not want to see that on a headset of that magnitude. If you're spending that much for a headset, I wouldn't want to transition. I wouldn't want to notice that.
I just want to give a quick shout out to James O'Loughlin. I feel like he's here every episode, and
Yeah,
he's
Thank you,
a
James.
true
Cheers.
fan. Yeah.
Yeah, more of a
True
fan than me.
upload,
It's
Ian.
my first episode. Jokes. I mean, yeah. Next.
First here, actual in the studio. Is there anything
In
else
terms
that we...
of other things to talk about, are there any big new releases? I know that 2MD football game came out on Quest today. We should have a review. I'm planning on doing my review for that probably tomorrow. I just haven't had the time to really dig into it.
I think it's been a pretty slow week overall. Besides CES, there's not been that much going on, really.
Yeah,
I
usually the
mean,
case.
Everyone's still recovering from Christmas, I guess. They're still in their quests that they received for Christmas. So
Yeah.
Or not.
Yeah, fun thing going on. There is an upcoming. I don't even think I've told you guys about this yet. It just solidified this morning.
Ooh.
But there's an upcoming Walking Dead VR game from a company
Another?
that comes out this month.
Another one.
From Skydance, and it's called Walking
Wait, so
Dead
that's
Saints
a
and
whole-
Sinners.
Oh no, okay.
Yeah, it's Saints
For a
and
minute,
Sinners.
for a minute, I thought you were saying another Walking Dead game. And I was like,
Another?
No.
I know
Stop
VR and
with
zombie
the
games are like
zombies,
absolute
please.
best
Yeah.
friends.
I'm
But,
very excited
yeah.
for Saints and Sinners. I haven't
That
played it
looks
yet
cool.
myself, but it looks good.
It looks
And I'm
really
going to
cool.
be going down to Skydance to do a big demo and a bunch of interviews and do like a video feature on it.
Ooh.
Nice.
And yeah, so that's going to be fun. And that's
Very
we're going to
cool.
have that out before the game comes out, hopefully. So something to look
Very
forward
nice.
to. Do we have any other cool shows or video projects going on that people should know about, Xena?
Yeah, man. Generally with CES, we've got loads more coming out this week. Lots of the stuff that we've been talking about, you can see Ian crush people's skulls and stuff like that. That'll be coming out next week.
I think on our YouTube we already have the Inreal and XTAL videos, so you can see those
Yes.
now, but we have more coming.
Yeah, rapidly. As well as that, once CES is out the way, then we will have the culture show next week where Jamie and I went to Japan. So we tried out, we tried out a bunch of VR arcades, and Jamie's got a write-up actually about Styly, which they've made a new VR creation platform that's really easy. I mean, you can go check it out right now on the website, and you can also check out the Styly platform. But we'll be looking more into that. That's coming out next week,
And he also reviewed the Resident Evil arcade, right? I think he posted
he
that
did.
already. Yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't too impressed by it. I tried out one of them with him, which is the Resident 2 spin-off one, not the 7 one. I liked it. I thought it was pretty cool.
You like the Resident Evil 2 one, not the...
The 2 one, the 7 one, yeah. It was a bit of a weird one, just watching him run around in a circle, basically. But you'll be able to see that too.
I love the conclusion of that review where it's like you're just better off buying a PSVR for Resident Evil 7 than flying to Japan.
Yeah.
Just buy a PSVR.
Wild. That game is 3 years old, and it's still one of the best VR games, period.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah,
so good. Oh my god. I still think about that game sometimes, to be honest.
Like, I want to play it, but I also don't want to buy a
nightmares,
PSVR
right?
at this point. So
I did. I had nightmares
Really?
about that game.
That's the sign of a good game if you're having nightmares about
it. Is. There it is.
game. Yeah.
I put it on for 2 seconds, could not handle it. I literally looked in the room and I was like, no.
I've got friends who make me play horror games just to watch me play it. Like, they'll just watch me walk around the room. I'll get my quest on up, put on like Dread
I need a
Balls,
friend like you
just
that
go
lives
and-
nearby, because I would love to do that. I love torturing people. That would be so much fun.
They just sit there
Have
and
you
they're
got
like, now you walk around.
60k as well.
Put that one
If you
above
got
his head.
60k,
Yeah, if I got
you can
60k,
buy-
I'll
Get the
have
military
60k,
stuff.
and I'll pay for your flight to Australia. You can come over and try the VR chair. I'll
Perfect.
set it up in my. You'll get here as me and my desk chair. Like, woo!
I would prefer to do the demo near your third fridge so I can have easy access to milk. Yeah.
Don't worry, we'll set that all up for you.
That's a nice little bow on that one.
Yeah. Look at that. We keep these jokes through the whole episode. It is like there's a storyline. Those breadcrumbs, they get bigger and bigger. It's like
Or you could call
Katamari.
it a
It just gets
stream.
bigger.
Like P.
Oh,
The many
Hey.
P's.
Man, all right.
Man, so many jokes this episode.
Oh
Kyle
my
is not allowed
gosh.
back on. This is going so great. Yeah, this is
I
very
know.
Yeah, well,
entertaining.
Yeah.
All good. Thumbs up.
Again, it's my first one, so je know.
I like it.
Mm.
Other housekeeping items. Just subscribe to us here on YouTube if you're not already. Hit the subscribe button. You can join and become a member if you would like, where you can get awesome exclusive emotes for the chat, like my face holding up some PlayStation Move controllers. We have Tatiana shooting an aim controller. We've got cool upload logos, and you can also vote on games that we stream. Other cool stuff in the chat. You can support the channel if you want to do that. And if you're not subscribed, you can do that as well. We're going to have a lot of videos from CES and more coming very soon. And as always, make sure you go to uploadvr.com for all the latest VR news, reviews, comments, and interviews from the VR industry, as Kyle says. And what is it he says at the very end?
Son, you disappoint me.
We'll see
you
you
in the next one
in the future.
Oh,
In the future.
There it is.
in the future.
Thank you for tuning in,
Bye,
everybody.
Thank you.